Broncos country, we're live. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown here by Chat Sports. My name is Moose on my very first live show as the host of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. So excited to be taking this journey with you. Like I said, it's my very, very first time. Could not be more excited to get started with all of the best Broncos content. And hopefully, I'm here for quite some time bringing you the best news and rumors surrounding your favorite team. And as always, we're going to keep the format pretty much exactly the same. I want you to start shouting out your city as we let all of the viewers roll on in. So let me know where you are watching from. I'm going to give shout outs in the chat below. Al Forum, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. It's your boys, says there's only 2 people in here. Now it's 20. Now we're getting up to about 40. Zoo, what's going on, man? I see you. Shout out where you guys are watching from, too, by the way. Let us know. Let us know. I've got producer Dylan on the 1s and 2s today. Dylan is actually the Vikings producer, but he so kindly agreed to step in and help me out today on my very first show. Dylan, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Doing well. Can't complain. Knicks are doing well, so that's all I can care about.
Knicks in 5?
Knicks in 5.
Knicks in 5. Love it. All right, keep shouting out your city. Sharon says Rapid City, South Dakota. Ethan says Utah. Rec Law says Idaho. Colorado Springs. From I'm Money Mitch. Zoo says Los Angeles. David, what's up, David? He says he's from, I'm going to guess, Plano? Because it says Lano, but it would make more sense if it was Plano, Texas. Ryan from Northern Illinois. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Chase from H-Town, Houston. Represent. Ethan, SLC, Utah. Ty Man, I know where you're watching from, brother. Ohio. Daryl, he says Denver. Keep shouting out those city guys. By the way, because it is my very first show, I did want to do this real quick. You know I had to do it, right? The mountains are blue, my friends, and I have not cheersed with Broncos country yet, so this one's for you. Cheers. Woo! You gotta love a nice cold Coors Light, don't you? It's the banquet beer. Well, that's Coors Banquet, but Coors Light is the banquet beer as well. Frank the Tank is watching from Niagara Falls. We've got a Niagara Falls guy in here, Dylan. Wesley from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Aiden says Fort Collins. Keep shouting out those cities, guys. All right, by the way, this is pretty exciting stuff here. I just dropped a brand new social media page on X, which is basically going to be my kind of work account, but also my Broncos account. So here's what I've got planned for you guys today. I'm going to take out my phone right now. I'm going to load up X as we speak. If you guys go give me a follow right now, I will follow the first 20 people that give me a follow on X. And I'm going to start shouting out names as they come in. So it's Moose_NFL with a capital M. Like I said, I just launched this brand new X page as I get the Broncos gig. And if you follow me right now, I'm going to give you a shout out and I will follow you back. Right now I got Dave H. What's going on, Dave? W. Chan. We got 46 people watching right now. We're, again, brand new social media page here. If you follow me over on X, I will give you a follow right back. It's Moose_NFL. I'm giving shout outs. There we go. Starting to come in now. Darius, what's up? I see you. Big Ken, I see you. Aiden, I see you. Giving you guys all follows back right about now. Michael, I see you. Keep on going. Keep on going. We've got 5 so far. The next 15 I'm following back. Next 15. Going to keep letting those roll in. We did get our first super chat here on the channel with me as the host. Comes from the boss man himself, Mr. James Yoder. Who wins in a fight, a moose or a Bronco? It's got to be a Bronco. It has to be the Bronco. I couldn't take what's smaller than a Bronco? Like way smaller, Dylan. Like I'm talking like a Yes, a sheep is definitely smaller. I couldn't take a sheep in a fight. But appreciate the super chat. We throw them all on screen, by the way. So if you want to skip the line, make sure that you throw in your super chat, and it'll get you right to the very front. And like I said, we put them all on screen. Going back to giving some shout-outs here as we get going. Sharon, I see you, giving you a follow back. Ethan, I'm giving you a follow. Mr. FaceTime, I'm giving you a follow. 3 Wide, giving you a follow. Dakota, Christian. I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Famke? Famke? I'm giving you a follow. Bill Crosby. I'm giving him a follow back as well. Giving him a follow back. All right, we'll do 2 more here, and then I'll get back at it. Conservative, I gave you a follow back too, my friend. Thank you so much. Ty Man, I'm following you as well. Okay. Very, very nice. So obviously today on the show, we have 3 segments all loaded up for you, all with the latest Broncos news and rumors. But at the very end of the show, we're going to do a mailbag. So make sure you get your questions in with hashtag Broncos, or like I said, send in a super chat. That skips the line. It gets you straight on screen, and you'll be featured pretty much front and center in our mailbag episode, which usually goes out later on in the week. So again, hashtag Broncos if you want to get your question in for the mailbag, or super chat. Appreciate it, Sharon. I saw that you followed. I followed you right back. Ethan. Yes. Yes, it's great to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. We got 52 people in the house right now with 20 likes. Before we get into our first segment, can we get up to 25 likes? All we need is 5 more before we get into our first segment. How are we looking on time there, Mr. Producer Dallin? Beautiful, beautiful. If you guys want to get some hashtag Broncos in there, make sure you start doing it so that we can get Mr. Producer Dylan to find his favorite questions to put in our mailbag episode. So if you have a question about any Broncos rumors or any Broncos questions about the upcoming 2025 season, hashtag Broncos. I'm going to start calling out some people to get some questions in. Boxcar, I want to see one from you. Darius, I want to see one from you. Ty Man, I would appreciate a question from you, my friend. Ethan, same goes for you. There we go. Ethan got in already. DeJesus, I want to see one from you as well. That's a really good question, but make sure you use hashtag Broncos. Clyde, same thing. Hashtag Broncos, brother. One more like, and we'll get started in our very first segment, which is, by the way, all about the undrafted free agents that stood out during rookie minicamp. And then we've got some really good Alex Singleton news that I'm very excited to share with you. And again, wrapping it up with that mailbag coming up in segment number 3. By the way, during minicamp, I was so impressed with Pat Bryant and how silky smooth he looked during the entirety of minicamp. My stock is completely rising on that kid. I can't wait to see what kind of professional he turns into. Sean Payton actually said that he kind of Bryant reminds him of Michael Thomas. And if you gave Pat Bryant the Michael Thomas career trajectory, that is a scary, scary player. Fredo, hashtag Broncos. I appreciate it, my friend. Alberto, great job. Way to get into it. All right, and we are at 32 likes, Mr. Producer. I love that. All right, let's get ready to get into our first little cut here, a little behind the scene, how the sausage is made, because these are going to go out later on the channel as videos. So we'll get started here in just about another minute or two. Are we ready to go? No, I think we're good. I think we're good on that front. All right. All right. Let's get started. Broncos rookie minicamp is officially over, and not only did our draft picks really impress, but there were some undrafted free agents that really, really stood out. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown here by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and my goal today is for you to decide how many likes we get on today's video. If I could double thumbs up the video, I totally would, but sadly, I can't. So do me a favor and lock us in. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's jump right into our very first UDFA standout, Mr. Clay Webb out of Jackson State, who actually, believe it or not, started his career at the University of Georgia. Now, I'm sure you've heard his name on our channel before. We definitely have talked about him. There is a lot of concern here when it comes to his off-the-field issues. So he was involved in a federal lawsuit from a bullying incident back in 2018 where, putting this as delicately as I can, he was involved in a hazing scheme where he forced another player on his team to drink semen out of a Gatorade bottle. It clearly is a bad look. But as a football player, you couldn't ask for a more exciting prospect. A five-star athlete coming out of high school that played 3 seasons at Georgia and then transferred to Jacksonville State where he was first-team All-CUSA. When it comes to the way that this guy plays, there's so much to be excited about because he's got raw power and agility and all the things that you're looking for in a star offensive lineman. But here's what Sean Payton had to say about Clay Webb at rookie minicamp. He's been cleared. This kid's a great kid. He obviously made a huge mistake, and he was fantastic in just discussing it with us and going through with us. We spent a ton of time with him. He's the best, Payton said. We really feel good about where he's at. And again, as a football player, I had him as a mid-round talent, somebody that could have gone in the 4th or the 5th round in the 2025 NFL draft. That's how good this kid can play. He absolutely deserved to be drafted. And at Jackson State, his on-the-field performance was very, very impressive. He played in 14 games, total of 915 snaps, and his run and pass blocking grade were both very, very serviceable. Now, he is a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker, but the good news is that if he were to make the 53-man roster, he wouldn't be a tackle. He would end up playing guard or center. He's got the versatility to be an interior offensive lineman. And again, like I was saying, from all of the tangibles that you want on the field, Clay Webb has got it all. The real question becomes, has he matured? Has he grown up from his hazing incident back when he was a senior in high school? Because let's be honest, it's a really, really disgusting look. And again, does he fit as a starting offensive lineman for the Broncos? Probably not year one, because the Broncos offensive line is really good. I mean, their PFF ranks don't do it justice. This is a very, very good offensive line. The only real question mark, in my opinion, is Luke Wattenberg. And that's a guy that, again, is still a very serviceable center. So if Webb were to make his way onto the 53-man roster, he would probably be a backup center year one. And he, out of these 4 guys that I'm going to mention, has the best shot to make the 53-man. He, again, like I said, was graded out as a mid-round talent. It's just the off-the-field issues that we have concerns about. But as a football player, I really like what he produced in rookie minicamp. So I'm going to ask you this question. Where do you rank the Broncos offensive line in the NFL? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to stake my claim, and I'm going to say it's top 15, probably closer to 10, but somewhere between that 10 and 15 mark. I'll say I'll split the difference. I'll go 12 with you right about now. Hopefully they can get into the top 10 here in 2025. Our second guy, Kyrie White, the wide receiver out of Utah State, and this dude has had some serious buzz going about him the last couple of days. Now, the first thing that I want to point out about Kyrie White, number 43 with long curly hair. Who does this remind you of? I'll give you the answer right away. It's Troy Polamalu. I mean, when I first saw him, and I was like, is this the second coming of Troy Polamalu? But I digress. A little bit more about him as a football player. So, again, not the biggest, only 5'10", 185 pounds, and he did have a very extensive career, played in 50 total games as a college football player. He also had some snaps at on the special teams as a punt returner and kickoff returner with the Aggies out there at Utah State. But the one thing that stood out at rookie minicamp, at least to all of the reports that were coming out, was his fluidity at the position. He looked so silky smooth running his routes. Now, you can look the part, and you can have quick feet and have great leverage and understand your positioning, but does it translate onto the field? That's going to be the biggest question. And his last season at Utah State left a lot to be desired. These aren't great numbers, especially for a program that isn't really known for developing all of the greatest NFL prospects. The most notable one was Jordan Love, who came out a couple years back when he was drafted by the Packers. Outside of that, you can't really name any big-time star players coming out of Utah State. Now, the one particular, I guess, position that I could see White end up taking would be a gunner on special teams. And if you don't know what that is, it's the guy that lines up on the outside and just runs down any punt or kick returner. I think he could absolutely make a name for himself there. He ran a 4.5 40 at his pro day, so he's got the speed to get down the field, albeit not a 4.3 guy or a 4.4 guy, but for his size, for the way he plays the position, and again, that fluidity that you like to see, I think he could end up making a name for himself on a special teams spot for him going forward in 2025. Before we get into my next undrafted free agents that really impressed, do me a favor and support our first-round pick, Jahdae Barron. All you have to do is go over to Fanatics right now and use this link that I have put in the comments and description of today's video. Start shopping your Fanatics journey for all the best Broncos gear for the 2025 NFL season. I personally have bought 2 jerseys from Fanatics. I'm probably going to be buying myself a third here, and it's probably going to end up being either RJ Harvey or Jahdae Barron. But again, use this link in the comments and description of today's video to start shopping with Fanatics today. Our third UDFA standout, Jordan Turner, the linebacker from Michigan State. Played a little bit of outside linebacker at Michigan State, and believe it or not, started his career also in the Big Ten at Wisconsin. So I've actually heard a little bit about this guy. Now, one thing about him is he had very, very good production and got better and better and better every single year that he played college football. He's got good length and good contact balance playing that outside linebacker position, meaning when he gets hit, he's not going to be thrown off of his platform, or he's not going to fall down. He really stays with the play and is really good at finishing. And like I said, you can see every single year he got better and better and better, especially in the run-stopping game. 11 tackles for loss is very, very good. So again, productive in college, a guy that maybe doesn't have the athleticism that you're looking for quite yet. He's not the fastest, ran, I believe, almost a 4.8. Doesn't have the explosiveness that you're looking for. And with how good the Broncos' defensive linebacking room is, I don't see him finding his way onto the field. That's just the truth. But could he be a good practice squad player? Absolutely. And if, God forbid, another injury were to happen to this Broncos linebacking core, and believe me, there are a lot of them, I think you could see him find his way onto the field, and he would be a nice player to come in to play in a pinch if needed. The last guy, I kind of wrestled with throwing him on this list. He did make waves at rookie minicamp. It's Cole, I'm going to try, Fotheringham. It's a hell of a last name. Our buddy Mike Kliss was on this to begin with. They ended up signing him as a UDFA, and they actually waived Thomas Yasmin. He actually got the name wrong here, but Yasmin was cut in place of Fotheringham. And the truth is that he spent the last couple of seasons with the Raiders and then got moved over to Houston, and he's been a practice squad player his entire career. Came out of Utah, signed with the Raiders in 2022, spent a lot of his time there. But he does have reliable hands as a pass catcher, and he's got good technique. But outside of that, he doesn't really offer much as a player. But I think we can all agree with how bad the Broncos' tight end room was last year. Having any player that can step in and give you any productivity is good. Now, I realize we went out and signed Evan Ingram. That's the good thing, right? So we actually have some stability at the position. But Troutman wasn't good last year. Kroll wasn't good. And Yasmin just got cut. So, look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. After the Broncos waived him at the end of rookie minicamp, I was saying, God, if this practice squad player caused you to get cut, that's probably telling. You weren't doing your job. Now, I have a lot more faith in the Broncos tight end room going forward in 2025, and God knows it can be a security blanket, especially Ingram for Bo Nix heading into year 2. But again, this is a guy that's just going to be a practice squad player. Nothing more, nothing less. If he absolutely needed to come in and play due to an injury, or if somebody, isn't doing their job, he can come in, play, and hopefully can be a red zone threat or just another guy on the offensive line to throw a block or two. All right, before we end our episode, name a random Broncos player from your childhood. Ooh, I'm going to go linebacker Nate Irving back in 2013. It's kind of a deep cut if you think about it. But let me know who your player is down in the comment section below. And remember, Broncos Country, to subscribe, like the video, and share this with a Broncos friend. Until next time, be cool. Sweet! If you got a question, remember hashtag Broncos. Hashtag Broncos to get your question in. And by the way, if you want more Broncos content, make sure to follow me on X. Just started up a brand new social media page. So if you want to get in and follow me, I'm going to be putting out tons of videos and tweets every single day about the Broncos. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that follow button. Broncos John Elway. What about John Elway? Oh, by the way, yesterday, okay, so I was reading the comments a little bit yesterday. The Broncos rookie players chose their uniform numbers, and on the last video, I had sarcastically said that RJ Harvey should go and take number 7. I thought I was being a parent. I probably didn't do a good job of delivering it. I thought it was sarcasm. Obviously, 7's retired, John Elway's number, so when I said that, I was kind of being a little tongue-in-cheek. It clearly missed the mark for some people, so that's on me. I'll make sure to work on my delivery when it comes to my sarcasm, but I do enjoy a sarcastic comment from time to time, so you'll end up seeing that as I go forward in more of these videos. John Elway, Jason Elam. Yeah, wow, we have some deep cuts here. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson was there for 15 minutes before he was gone. Keep going. By the way, we have 96 people watching right now, which is awesome. Can we get to 60 likes before we start our next segment? What do you think, Mr. Producer Dylan? I think they can too. I have faith in Broncos country. By the way, if you are just joining us, welcome. Cheers to you. First beer I've ever shared with Broncos country. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Mr. Producer Dylan, do you have anything going on, later tonight? What's your... Dylan is the only Chat Sports employee, by the way, that plans meals by the day. We were talking about this when he first started here. I couldn't believe it. So what is Tuesday nights, Mr. Producer Dylan?
Normally like taquitos. I mean, it goes in line with that Taco Tuesday type of thing, but...
Gosh. And this is what, every single Tuesday pretty much?
I mean, if it's available, I'll do it. But if it's not in the fridge, I'll find another.
See, that's crazy to me. I never know what my next meal is going to be. I couldn't even tell you what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. I'll probably just fly by the seat of my pants and get something like Whataburger or In-N-Out, something like that. Fast food is usually my go-to, especially on longer days.
I'm a simple man. I don't need to go ahead and think about it more in advance.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair. Listen, you like what you like. I'm not here to dog on you for your taste in food or your choice in food, but I just think the consistency of every single Tuesday night is just, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Don't you think? Hey, 4 likes away. Let's get 4 more likes before we start our second segment, which is all about some very positive Alex Singleton news. Steve Atwater. Oh, by the way, quick little heads up in case you haven't seen it yet. A little bit of a NFL schedule leak. Some primetime games and some international games have been announced. The Broncos play the Jets at Tottenham Stadium in London on October 12th, which is, was that week 5 or is it week 6? It's one of those two. I think it's week 5. But they'll be going international, so we will be live here for that game, obviously, on the 12th, and that'll be a very early start. That'll be like a 7:30 a.m. kickoff, 8 o'clock in the morning kickoff. So if you want to join us bright and early, make sure that you tune in when that happens on October 12th. And then also, Christmas came early this year. The Chiefs and the Broncos. This is going to be a fun game. Excuse me. This is going to be a fun game. It is week 6. Thank you, Ty Man the Buckeye. I wasn't sure. It feels like a week 6 game based on the date there. But this is going to be an electric game. And I love the Christmas games, by the way. It feels like the Chiefs have kind of staked their claim to be the NFL, at least while they have Mahomes and Reed. They've kind of staked their claim to be the NFL's marquee matchup on Christmas Day, which, again, I don't really care. As long as we get an early Christmas gift, or in this case, a late Christmas gift on Amazon Prime, and we beat the living shit out of them. That's what I'm hoping for Christmas. And maybe a new pair of AirPods, Dylan. That's what I need. A new pair of AirPods. All right. Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say the Chiefs don't normally play well in the holidays.
That's true. Didn't they? It was the Raiders they lost to a couple years ago, when AP was still the coach?
Yep.
Rudolph says we're going to win that on Xmas. Yeah, we are. I'm feeling it, brother. I'm feeling you. All right. We got 64 likes. Our next segment is all about the good news on Alex Singleton and his injury update. So let's start it right away. The Broncos just got great news on a very key defensive piece. Alex Singleton, who very, very gruesomely tore his ACL last year, has an update on his injury status and his recovery. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and like I said on today's episode, we got some great news surrounding our linebacker. Here's what he specifically had to say about his injury status. He was on a recent podcast where he was asked point blank about when he's going to start, like to the day. When are you going to start? And he said, I still can't technically fully say, but let's just say that there should be no worries about playing this year. I'll be out there. He sounds confident, which is great to hear, because the one thing that becomes a question mark, especially for a player that's in his 30s, is how fast is your body healing, especially with an ACL injury. And if you remember, this was a gruesome injury week 3 against the Buccaneers. I mean, this was from his surgery where he is all smiles. I'll give him that. He's got a great attitude about it. But if you remember watching that, it was nasty. So, and again, like I said, you never ever want to take for granted an ACL injury. Those are very, very touchy things. I know that when you're younger, you can come back from those and your leg can actually become stronger than it was before you started. But as you get up there in age, and he's not that old, I mean, he's coming out of his prime, it becomes a bit of a question mark. Now, when he's on the field, this is one of the best in the game, period. Now, last year, through 3 games, he was already off to a wicked hot start. But in 2023, that's the one I want to highlight. This guy's a blanket over the middle of the field. I mean, how can you get better than this guy right here? Not only does he have the pass protection skills, but he can also make disruption happen when he climbs up into the box and stop the run. I can't wait to see him get back out on the field and cause havoc. And as I started to think more and more about him getting back onto the field, a question started formulating in my mind. And that main question was this: is it possible, even a remote chance, that he could win Comeback Player of the Year? And I started to think about it. I'm like, he's got the talent to do so. The productivity, if his leg is fully healed and back to at least 90% of what he was, is definitely there. The one thing where I would push back on that question, though, is what's stacked up against him. The last 5 comeback player of the years were all quarterbacks. And funny enough, Joe Burrow won this award twice, which, can you really win an award of like comeback player of the year twice? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You have to be a really injury-riddled player like Burrow is to win that twice, but 5 straight years of quarterback winning, that's going to be tough. Now, what's the actual criteria, I'm sure you're wondering, for winning comeback player of the year? It's kind of ambiguous. It's kind of up in the air. It's nebulous. It's not very clear. Nobody actually knows what the certain criteria is in order to win the award. You've got to be a good media story. You've got to have good stats. Your team's got to be good, at least to some degree, in my opinion. And like I said, outside of that, it just becomes a coin flip. Does the media, does the fan base really resonate with you? Are you somebody that's actively involved in your community? I think all of those things play a part in winning that award. But let's just go back to him, the player, for a second. In 2023, these are the top in the league for tackles. Bobby Wagner led the NFL in tackles with 183. Zaire Franklin was number 2 at 179. Singleton, not far behind at 177. So again, we're not talking about a player that is a middle of the pack when it comes to his production on the field. No, he's at the very top and the very best at what he does. Now, again, we're going to circle back really quick to his age for a second because that's where another pushback comes in. Here's what Bleacher Report had to say about Singleton. Singleton played well in the 3 games that he played this season, talking about the 2024 season. And he's been a fairly consistent starter for his first 2 seasons with the Broncos. The problem is that he's a 31-year-old linebacker coming off of an ACL tear. Okay, so the award would be incredibly hard to win to start, just because of the position that you play. Being 31 years old, coming off of a gruesome ACL injury, and hoping that you can get back to 100% of the player that you were. All of these things combined tell me that it would be an incredibly hard thing to win. Now, again, if you're 90% of the player that you were, or even 80% of the player that you were, could we all agree that that still is around 140 tackles, 150 tackles a year? At the very least, you'd be thinking somewhere around the 120 to 130 range. I mean, when you have a nose for the football like he does, and he can space the field and understands coverages and can keep his eyes on the quarterback and the ball carrier for whoever has it, there's not many players in the NFL that can do it at the highest level like he can. So here's the question. Can he win comeback player of the year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. If we were just going off of the talent alone and not the position that he played, I would tell you in a heartbeat that the answer would be yes. But I think a defensive player playing linebacker, those numbers would have to be outstanding. That's just the truth. All right, now, I want to continue on building off of this by talking about some of the other defensive injury concerns. Because if you start to do your homework a little bit, you'll notice that the Broncos linebacking unit has some serious injury concerns. Starting with the guy that we just picked up in free agency, Dre Greenlaw. He just tore his quadricep while he was working out. And before that, back in Super Bowl, it was a couple years ago, whatever Super Bowl that was, 58, I think it was, tore his Achilles. So you're talking about a guy that already has a lot of injuries in the back. Drew Sanders tore his Achilles last year, so that's never a good thing. And then obviously Singleton coming off of the ACL. So now the question becomes, which one of these 3 players is going to face the most injuries in 2025? Because the law of averages would tell you that it's going to be one of them. And I think it's probably Greenlaw, just because he hasn't been fully healthy in quite some time. I mean, the stats prove it. He's just not on the field nearly as much as you would like. In 2023, he was great. 2022, awesome. 2021 was injured. 2024 got injured. So if your best ability is availability, that's clearly not Greenlaw's strength. So I'm going to have a little bit of pause when it comes to how good and how valuable he's going to be to this team in 2025, only because I don't necessarily know from an injury standpoint how he's going to hold up. And the same thing with Drew Sanders. I know he's the backup to Greenlaw right now, but another player that I'm excited to see get on the field because of his injury history. We haven't got to see him, at a full 100%. We haven't seen him get onto the field and show that what he can do, not only as a rotational piece, but as a depth piece. So another player that I believe has a lot to prove, but can you stay on the field? All of these questions come back down to health, and it is something to keep an eye on for all three of these players. That's just the truth. I mean, whether it be Singleton, Greenlaw, or Sanders, this linebacking unit has to do a good job of making sure they stay healthy. Whether that means you take more pride in your conditioning, or if that means you have less, for the older players, less practice time where you can have an extra day of recovery. There, you see, every single player is different. So whatever works best for them to keep them onto the field, I think is an absolute necessity. All right. Let's name a random Broncos linebacker. I've got mine. I'm going to take a little chalk take right now. Von Miller, I guess you can't. He's half. He's linebacker slash edge. But if you were going by technically, it's Von Miller. So let me know in the comment section down below who your random Broncos linebacker is. As always, my name is Moose. Until next time, be cool. All right. We've got our mailbag coming up here in just a little bit. G-Tron says, Broncos warm welcome to the family, Moose. Thank you, my friend. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Broncos country, let's ride. Remember, hashtag Broncos to get your question in, or super chat. If you feel like sending in a super chat, we've already got one in today. You'll skip the line and be featured right dead center up in front for our mailbag episode. Great question, Daryl. I'm sure we're going to get to that in the mailbag. Couple shout outs here. Alberto, Michael, good to see you. Horse Clover, cool name. Nathaniel, Ty Man, obviously sticking around. Great to see you, my friend. Is it Kaiden or Caden? That's a cool name. Kaiden's cool. Fun fact, by the way, you probably don't know a ton about me yet, and that's all right. I should probably do a better job of telling you a little bit about my life. My fiance, Alexis, I get married in September at the very beginning, so believe it or not, week 1, I will not be with you because I'll be getting married back in Minneapolis, which is where my fiance is from, and when it comes to amount of people we have at the wedding, it's like 90% her side of the family and her friends. I have a very small knit group of people that I invited. She has a million bajillion friends. So we'll be up there in Minnesota. But back to my original point. For Kaiden, I love the name Kyler, like Kyler Murray. And my fiance, when we were talking about kids' names, she was like, if you even think about naming our kid Kyler, I'll smack you in the back of the head. And I'm like, well, there's your veto. We're not doing Kyler. Bronco the Great, if you want to ask that question, make sure you use hashtag Broncos, my friend. Thank you, Rudolph. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've been together for 4 years. It'll be 5 in March. Once we get married, I'm sure we'll reset the clock on our anniversary date. But it'll be 5 years next March. So it's been 4.5 years, and we get married next to the governor's mansion, believe it or not. So Tim Walz, who ran for vice president alongside Kamala Harris this year, we get married right next to his governor's mansion. So it'll be interesting to see if we see the governor out there. Maybe he'll crash our wedding, Dylan. What do you think? Did I invite you, Dylan?
No.
Ooh, that's tough. That's okay. I didn't invite anybody from Chat Sports. And believe it or not, the reason for that is not because it's not that I don't like everybody here, but we had already sent out our wedding invites months ago. It's right after I started working here, we sent out our wedding invitations, so I didn't get a chance to. Yeah, good point. Very good point. Awesome point. All right. Let's see. Where are we at here, Mr. Dillon, in terms of questions? Do we need any more people to get their questions in, or are we good? Are you sure? Yeah. Positive. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll start up our mailbag here in just one lickety-split. 85 people watching. Remember, it's my very first live show, so if you could do me a huge favor and hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. It would help go a long way to make sure that everybody knows that, hey, I'm trying to do my job to the very best of my ability. I know everybody was rocking with Matthew Peterson before this, and PD has been a great friend, a great coworker, and somebody that has been an unbelievable mentor. So I appreciate you guys having a little bit of patience with me as we get into this transition into the 2025 NFL season. One last time, producer Dylan on the ones and twos. Are we ready to rock? Let's do it. Let's get into our mailbag episode. Welcome in, Broncos country, to our mailbag edition here on Broncos Live, which airs every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, where we take the most important and pressing Broncos questions and we answer them just for you. So, before we get into our first question, I just wanted to be the first one to say, do me a favor. Throw a like on today's video. It helps us put more Broncos content on your YouTube timeline. Our first question is coming in from our guy, DeJesus. Hashtag Broncos in all caps. Will our defense be better than all of our rivals within the division? I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be a head-to-head matchup between us and the Chargers. I think we clearly have a more talented roster than the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's not even a question. The Raiders are probably the worst in this division. But last year, with the addition of Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers, I thought they put a lot more emphasis on the trenches, the defensive line and the offensive line. Harbaugh likes to play old school football. So it's going to be a toss-up. I think the Broncos end up having a better pass rush than the Chargers do. I also think the Broncos will end up having a better secondary than the Chargers do. But last year, if it was one thing the Chargers were great against, it was stopping the run. So it's going to be a toss-up between them. But yes, I do think I'll give the slight edge to Denver here in the AFC West. Daryl, Broncos. How will Denver's Broncos middle linebackers hold up this year in pass coverage? So obviously, getting back Alex Singleton helps in that regard. And if Dre Greenlaw and Drew Sanders can stay healthy, I think you're looking at a team that can fend for themselves in the passing game. When it comes to stopping the run, I think all of them are very, very talented. So their linebacking core, while very talented, has a lot of injury concerns. So if you see any number of them go down at any point during the season, that puts a little bit of a question mark, in my opinion, on how well they're going to fare up in the passing game. But I trust Vance Joseph enough to know that he'll make adjustments where he needs to make adjustments. And if the Broncos, pass coverage is not nearly as good as its run-stopping defense, I think you'll end up seeing an adjustment happen midway through the season, whether that be, you bring up a nickel corner or you have a safety like Talanoa Hufanga play up a little bit more and play more towards the middle of the field rather than dropping back in coverage. So any number of different scenarios and play packages could happen, but I think they'll end up doing all right. Emmanuel, how do you feel about the Broncos wide receiver room? Incredibly underrated. I think last year you saw the growing pains of a really young wide receiver room. Now that everybody's a year older, Courtland Sutton doesn't need, any sort of praise. We know what he is. He's an unbelievable wide receiver one. But then you get into guys like Marvin Mims and Devon Vele and Troy Franklin, and now with the addition of our third-round draft pick and Pat Bryant. I think you're going to see the Broncos wide receiver room take a jump considerably from where they were at last year. Does that necessarily mean they're a top 10 wide receiver room? No, but I thought last year you saw the growing pains, especially earlier on in the season as Bo was trying to figure out the speed of the NFL game. I thought you saw growth throughout the entirety of the season, especially from Marvin Mims and especially from Troy Franklin as the games went on. So yes, I think next year we're going to definitely see a better wide receiver room. Danny, who would play Bo Nix in a movie about this season's Super Bowl run? That's a great question. You know who I could see doing it? Who is the guy that played Elvis? Is it Austin Butler? I could see Austin Butler doing that. He'd have to like shave his head and he'd have to drop that stupid accent that he does where he's like, he talks way down here, like I'm Mr. Cool Guy. So if he, raised his pitch a little bit and cut his hair, I could see Austin Butler making a Bo Nix play. But that's an excellent question. Way to catch me off guard, Danny. Appreciate you watching. Chase, will the Broncos win 12 games this season? Yes, they will. About a week ago, I came out with a rumors video where I said I'm going to split the difference and go 11 wins. But the more and more I think about it, the more I trust the fact that the Broncos' running game is going to get better. And the more that I trust that their defense is going to stay healthy, and that definitely got better. I think the high end is 13 wins. I'm going to say 12 wins is right about where you think the Broncos are going to end up. And yes, by the way, they are in contention for a Super Bowl. We're catching this Broncos team at probably their most talented since the 2016 Super Bowl when they absolutely demolished Cam Newton. So I'm really excited to see what this season has in store for us. But at the same time, everything comes down to injuries and how healthy can you stay. And also, is Bo going to get into a sophomore slump? I personally don't think so, but that is definitely a thing in the NFL. You'll see, as more teams get tape on players, they could dip in their production a little bit. And speaking of our players, make sure you support our first round draft pick, Mr. Jahdae Barron, who we took out of Texas. Start shopping immediately with his jersey over at Fanatics. I took this link right here. I put it in the comments and description of today's video. So if you want to get the very best Broncos gear for the 2025 NFL season, make sure you use this link and start shopping today. I've already bought 2 jerseys from Fanatics, by the way. I'm going to be getting my 3rd before the season starts. So make sure, like I said, in the comments and description of this video, you use this link to shop Fanatics today. Aiden, who do you think we play in week 1? So the NFL kind of does this thing where every other year they'll start you off with a non-divisional game, but then they'll start you off with a divisional game the next year. I'm going to say, give me the Raiders. I think a divisional game this year would be a really, really awesome start there for the Broncos. Week 1, going up against Geno Smith and Ashton Genty, it'll make for great television, especially with the coverage that Genty's going to get basically for being, according to all the media, God's gift to the running back position. I don't have him nearly as good as a guy like even Saquon Barkley, but the hype around this dude is absolutely insane. And for good reason. He had an unbelievable year. So I'm going to say the Raiders and stake my claim there, but who knows? I hope it's an easy opponent. I hope we start off with a cakewalk so that I can just see some insane numbers from Bo Nix and company. Ethan, what's the chance Harvey goes for 1,000? It's going to be close. I have him just under. I think I had him at my too early prediction at like 945 for rushing yards. I think as a scrimmage yards total, he'll be over 1,000. I think he'll end up with 250 to 275 receiving yards. So somewhere right in the ballpark of 1,175 to 1,200 yards from scrimmage, which, by the way, I don't think any Broncos fan would complain about whatsoever when it comes to, his rookie season. As long as it's better than it was last year, and let's be honest, Javonte Williams wasn't doing us any favors. This running back room was one of the worst in the NFL. Everything can't be roses and what's the phrase? Roses and clouds. I don't know what I'm saying. There's a phrase about there with roses. I'm getting them all confused right now. But that was one of the weak points last year along with the tight end room. So I think he's close to 1,000 yards. I'm going to take the slight under and go 945. But I appreciate your question, Ethan. Alberto, rumors are we might trade for Trey Hendrickson. Is it true? No, I don't see it happening. And here's why. The Broncos' pass rush is unbelievable already. You mean to tell me that I'm not saying it wouldn't be electric. That might be the greatest pass rush we've ever seen if you were to add a player like Trey Hendrickson, who, by the way, had 17.5 sacks last year. But the Broncos were number 1 in sacks in 2024 with 63. So I don't think there's any reason we need to go out especially after drafting Savion Jones as well. I think the Broncos have no interest in adding to another pass rusher to, this room. But if it were to happen in a surprise move, look out, because that might be a room that gets 75 to 80 sacks, and I don't know how you'd stop it, truthfully. So appreciate it, Alberto, for your question. David, will having such an elite secondary help Knicks improve? Yes, and here's why. Offense and defense, in terms of time on the field, are both vastly different. Offenses want to stay in the groove. It's all about how you're feeling in terms of momentum and energy with offense. So the faster you can get onto the field to stay in that groove, the better. Defenses, it's more about effort. It's more about understanding energy. It's more about press and strength and, patience. So defense is one of those where you want to be off the field and get as much rest as possible. It's the age-old cliche. You never want to go 3 and out so that your defense is flipped right back onto the field. So I think with having this no-fly zone, yes, I think you're going to see a ton of 3 and outs, especially early on. And Jahdae Barron, being the versatile player that he is going to play nickel corner, he's going to play outside corner, and he's going to play a little bit of safety as well. So I think with the, talent that we've got out there, I think you're going to see a lot of 3 and outs, and you'll see Bo Nix find his groove and stay in that groove as he gets into year 2. I, by the way, have Nix as a kind of a dark horse contender to win MVP this year. I know that might sound a little out there, but if last year was any indication, the only player that you could say, without a doubt objectively had a better year than him was Jaden Daniels. He was better than Caleb Williams. He's better than Drake May, and he's better than Michael Penix, who, granted, only played 4 games. So I think Bo has a very, very decent chance to be in the MVP conversation. That's going to do it for us on today's mailbag episode. Remember to subscribe, like the video, and share this with a Broncos friend and a fan in your life. Until next time, my name is Moose. Be cool. Sweet. First live show in the books, Mr. Producer. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It feels good. I'm going to give you guys one more cheers. The mountains are still blue, by the way. It's the first time I'm ever cheersing it up with Broncos country. And by the way, it is my goal, especially if you live in the Denver area, to get out to the Mile High City and just do some exploring here this summer. It's one of the cities that I really enjoy coming to. I always love the scenery. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the United States. I've only been there a handful of times, but I will say this. It's by far one of my favorite tourist attractions in the entire United States. So I'm going to try and get out there possibly by the end of June. My bachelor party comes up here in July, I think at like the end of July, so it'll be tough, especially with the 4th of July also, and family obligations to get out in July. But hopefully I can link up with some of you guys and we can talk Broncos football at either a bar, a restaurant, and hey, feel free to show me around town. Let's get a couple more shout-outs here before we sign off, Mr. Dillon. By the way, if you do want to follow me on my brand new social page, at Moose_NFL, I'm actually going to throw out a tweet right here, right now, thanking everybody for, we got some breaking news here from Mike Kliss. Hold on, let's take a look here. Da-da-da-da-da-da. George Payton has hired former New England Patriots college scouting director Cam Williams to become co-director of player personnel. Payton did lose 4 personnel execs this offseason, so, including Moogie. So interesting. Making moves in the front office there, Mr. Dillon. I'm going to make sure that I send out a tweet here. Appreciate everybody that gave me a follow. Let's make one right here. Broncos country. First live show in the books. In the books. God, I wish I could type faster. I've got these slow thumbs, Dylan. Can't wait for more to come. Hashtag Broncos country. There it is. And it went out. By the way, before I actually sign off here in just a second, I do want to ask you guys a question, because it has been a point of emphasis that I want to ask, because I've gone back and forth with this debate in terms of cringe. So you let me know, because we still have 96 people watching. What is a more cringe moment? The Liam Cohen, Duval, or Broncos country, let's ride from Russ? I think a lot of people would say it was Russ's Broncos country, let's ride. But the more and more that I hear the Duval chant, I literally feel embarrassed for him. It was so bad. I mean, his head bobbled and everything too. It was like, Duval. It was disgusting. Alberto, thanks for everything. Welcome home, Moose. Appreciate it, brother. Thanks for watching, and make sure you tune in every single day this week for more Broncos content. All right, just for my OCD sake, we're at 99 likes. Can we get up to 100? Sorry, it's got to be like an even number. Do you ever feel that way? Like when you're listening to the radio, it has to be in intervals of 5 or an even number. I also feel the same way when you're watching television, right? Like, do you guys feel the same way? So if you're like picture yourself watching TV. What do you have the volume on? It's like 15, right? Or 20, or 10, or 12. If it's on an odd number, I just start feeling like kind of... Well, no, but I'm saying like an odd number like 13. Because the intervals of 5 just feel... It's really nice. It's really nice. There we go. We got to 104. All right. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Thank you guys so much. We will be live next Tuesday, yes, I believe, at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. My name is Moose. First live show in the books. Until next time, you know what to do. Be cool.